Hello, on this video I'm going to talk about the while loop using Python. The while loop is used when you want to do something over and over again. And for the purpose of this video, I'm going to cover only two types of usage for the while loop. One is when the user enters yes or no to repeat or to end the loop. And the other one is the loop that ends because of a flag or because a counter. And then I'm going to also talk about the infinite loop. First, I'm going to talk about the loop so the first loop will be the one that the user enters a yes or no to continue or to repeat the loop. So for that, the first thing to do is create a variable here. So I'm going to create a variable called user choice. And here's where I start the loop. So while the user choice equals to yes, then here comes the body of the loop, and here's where you do something. So here, in this case, I'm just going to print a little message. And then after you finish doing whatever you want to code right here, you need to get the user's input again to check if the user wants to repeat this loop or to end this loop. So here's the user choice equals input, and then a message that you want to display to the user. So let's go from top to bottom to see what it does. So the first thing is assumes the user wants to repeat the loop. And that is because it will check here if the choice is yes. So the choice is yes, so it enters the loop. And then you do whatever you want to do. And then before you exit the loop, you collect the user input again to make sure the user wants to repeat or not. So let's run this code. So here it asks, do you want to repeat the code? And I'm going to type yes. And then it repeats the code again. And then yes, and repeats the code again. Now, note here that if we put capital Y, then it exits the loop. That's because it's expecting only lower I. So if you want the program to accept lower I and also capital Y, you just have to get the user choice and then make it lowercase. To do that, I'm going to use the lower function. So the input function returns a string. So if I get whatever the input function is returning and I put dot to lower, so in this case here, if I put lowercase y, it will repeat. And if I put capital Y, it will repeat again. Because this function here will always make whatever user input is to lowercase. Alright, so the second type of while loop that we're really interested on is something that uses a counter or a number. For that, I'm going to change this code a little bit. I'm going to put here a counter equals to 0. And then I want to end at 9. So this loop will run from 0 to 9. If it's less than 10, then it runs to 9 only. And because this loop here will stop in a counter, then I do not need to get the user input. So I'm going to delete this. For this loop here, we need three things: where it starts, where it ends, and some kind of increment that we can get to the end. Starts at 0, ends at 10. If I run this code right now, I'm going to get an infinite loop. So I'm going to run this code, and it's going to keep repeating forever and ever and ever here. So to stop this program, I'm going to press Ctrl and C. So Ctrl C will stop the program. And this program here has an infinite loop. It will never stop because the counter is always 0. There's no way for the count to get to 10. To fix that, we just have to increment the counter. And by doing this, it's guaranteed to me that the counter will increase 1 every time it does a loop. So I'm going to run this code again. And this code eventually ends. And I'm going to print the counter right here instead of the message. And I'm going to run again. And there it is. I have the loop starting at 0. And then the counter increases by 1 every time you go through the loop. And then it ends before a 10. So that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.